Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, thank you. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. As a result, everything he had done before had been a waste. Wang Lin's eyes became cold, but his expression quickly recovered. He was well aware that none of the recent events had been normal. According to the memory from his part of the inheritance, the fact that Two Sai's soul became the Dead Sea and Blood Sea when it was split into two parts was true. This place really was the Dead Soul Sea, but why wouldn't the inheritance of knowledge work here? Wang Lin looked around. His gaze fell upon a scale on the million-foot-long creature, and a thought came to his mind. His heart skipped a beat as he stared at the scale and memorized its location. When Wang Lin activated his inheritance of knowledge, he felt a faint response from that scale. Although the response was weak, it responded to the call of his part of the inheritance, so that scale must have been special in some way. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. His didn't raise his right arm, but gently waved his index finger. A very small rift appeared and quickly disappeared. Wang Lin's movement was very secretive, and the small rift disappeared as soon as it appeared, so no one else noticed. Wang Lin's heart calmed down. The appearance of that rift meant that he could use his unique method of moving around with his portion of the inheritance. He scanned his own bag of holding with his divine sense and sneered in his heart. He had a lot of bags of holding. The one that made him the most worried was the one holding the 10 life-saving treasures, the Huanyuan beast trap, and the 20 top-quality spirit stones. He had never let his guard down since he received them. He didn't believe that these 10 people would so easily allow him to hold on to these things. What he had said before was to simply mislead them. After a lot of experience with entering the rifts, Wang Lin realized that the rifts that were opened by using the inheritance were different. If one entered it, they wouldn't have to immediately exit on the other side, because there was a small space between entrance and the exit. The space was filled with chaotic energy that prevented any divine sense to enter. He experimented with it before. He took out a flying sword and threw it into the rift. When the sword entered the rift, he lost connection with it. Only after the sword came out from the other side was the connection restored. His heart became excited. If he could take advantage of this property of the rift, it could work wonders for him. After pondering a little, Wang Lin took the bag of top-quality spirit stones, the beast trap, and the 10 instruments, mixed them up a bit, and placed them in 3 different bags of holding. At the same time, a change occurred. Domu's group looked at each other, and, following the old man, put their hands together. A light beam connected the 10 of them, forming an irregular shape that surrounded Tar. Senator Tar Sen's cold eyes glanced at the 10 people. His face revealed a cold smile. He sneered, "You 10 have waited so many years, and now finally found an opportunity. Very good." The old man's face became gloomy. Without a word, his 2 hands constantly changed. The other 9 followed suit. Their hands changed signs faster and faster. The irregular shape that had been formed suddenly started to glow and close in on Tar. Senator Tar Sen smiled coldly as he looked away. He looked at the creature and slowly said, "It seems you guys have already been in contact with each other. You planned to seal me again." In that moment, the red light quickly left the 9 people's bodies, became one again, and went back to the old man's body. The moment the red light entered his body, he trembled and spat out a mouthful of black blood. His face suddenly paled. He stared at Tar Sen and grinned. "Tar Sen, since this old man dared to attempt to kill you, I already have a method to break your technique. This technique is useless against me." All these events felt like they took a long time, but they happened within the span of a few breaths. Tar Sen secretly sneered. He pointed his finger at his brow and looked at the 9 other people, one by one, and shouted, "Explode." The old man's eyes lit up and he quickly shouted, "Li Peng." Tar Sen paused. He faintly remembered the words, Li Peng. It was the name of the person from the group of 11 that had escaped from him all those years ago. At this point, a laugh appeared from the mouth of the creature. That voice clearly wasn't from the creature, but from another person. The creature opened its mouth and spat out a core. A tumor grew on the core. The tumor was tightly attached to the core, as if it were a parasite. After the tumor grew a bit, it split open and a person's face appeared from within. The face looked very scholar-like, but the eyes, that were filled with evil like a demon lord's eyes, coldly stared at Tar Sen and spit out a complicated chant. The chant created 10 circles that quickly appeared around the 10 people, and completely negated Tar Sen's method of exploding the soul fragments. Tar Sen jerked his head around and coldly stared at the face. His expression became dark, and he said, "It seems the reason I couldn't catch you all those years ago was because you were saved by this animal." The head smiled bitterly, revealing a look of resentment. His voice was filled with hate and said, word for word, "Back when the 11 of us believed your lies, broke the seal that Tusai had placed on you, and allowed you to regain your freedom, we realized that that was the biggest mistake of our lives. Today, we will clear up our mistake. It doesn't matter if it's the inheritance of power or inheritance of knowledge, both will be ours." Tar Sen moved the spear in his hand. He revealed a sarcastic smile and calmly said, "First, it's 10 people betraying me, then this animal was hiding another person. It can't just be these 2 moves. What else is there?" With that, he gazed at Wang Lin and the hundreds of dumbfounded demonic cultivators that were outside the battlefield. The head that was connected to the core sneered, "You will find out." With that, he communicated with the creature using some unknown method. The creature suddenly moved violently and coiled in the water. Its enormous body kept coiling, until it reached the height of Tar Sen and completely surrounded him. Within the creature's body, the black dragon formed by the spear stopped a dozen feet from the irregular shape. As a result, Tar Sen was completely surrounded. Tar Sen's expression remained calm. He let out a sarcastic smile and spit out a purple light that became the half-moon blade. It landed in his left hand. Tar Sen held the spear in his right hand and the half-moon blade in his left hand. He attacked with both. Suddenly, the irregular shape that surrounded him showed signs of collapse. After hearing the old man's words, Wang Lin suddenly moved and charged toward the old man. The old man's expression became excited. Right when he was about to speak, Wang Lin's direction shifted and he flew past the old man and quickly charged toward the million-foot-long creature. Wang Lin didn't care if these people lived or died, all he cared about at that moment was one thing, and that was the special scale on the creature. In fact, from the start, he never planned to help with the so-called seal. Wang Lin didn't believe he had the power to do so. The old man's expression became sullen. He snorted and placed his hands on his chest, forming a diamond shape. He shouted, "My instrument, attack." The moment the old man's words came out, Wang Lin's right hand quickly opened a rift and entered it. The moment Wang Lin entered the rift, the bag holding the top-quality spirit stones, the 10 instruments, and the beast trap all started to glow. However, the glow immediately dimmed once he entered the rift, as if a force was interfering with the divine sense connected to the bags. Wang Lin already knew that with the personalities of those 10 people, they wouldn't just hand over their treasures. They must have placed some sort of technique on them to allow them to control their treasures remotely. So when Wang Lin received those items, he had always been on guard against them. He decided to use the rift that could cut off divine sense as a countermeasure. The moment Wang Lin's body entered the rift, the old man's expression changed as he noticed that his divine sense was obstructed. Tar Sen's sarcastic smile became wider. He let out a growl and waved his right hand, causing a circle of red light to appear. It was small at first, but quickly began to widen. Soon after, his right hand didn't stop moving and formed more red circles. He sent them in all directions. The irregular shape surrounding Tar Sen started to shake violently. The old man didn't have time to worry about Wang Lin, and regained his focus to keep the irregular shape intact. As for the man covered in scales, who had been standing on top of the creature, he began to ponder. Without a word, he slammed his hand on his forehead and he split into 2. Facepalm so powerful, his body split into 2, one of his bodies charged toward the irregular shape. The moment he touched the irregular shape, he recited a chant and used his hand to form seals that allowed him to pass through the irregular shape. After successfully entering, his eyes lit up and he waved his right hand, causing an illusionary spear to appear in his grasp. The spear looked exactly like the one Tar Sen had, only this one was a mere illusion. But the pressure released from the spear wasn't in any way inferior to the real spear. He immediately lunged forward and attacked Tar Senator outside the irregular shape. The other him drifted in the air, constantly chanting and forming hand signs. Countless balls of purple lightning appeared around his body. More and more balls of lightning appeared. The lightning crackled between the balls, releasing a destructive aura. Although he was constantly performing techniques, his eyes were locked onto the special scale on the creature's body while carefully observing the surroundings. All of this happened in almost the exact instant Wang Lin's body disappeared into the rift. The moment the old man shifted his attention to maintaining the irregular shape, a rift suddenly appeared near the special scale on the creature. A shadow suddenly came out of the rift. As a result, the 4 tornadoes successfully made their way past the scaled man and charged toward the million-foot-long creature. Soon, the tornadoes arrived next to the creature. When the balls of lightning hit the rift slowly became smaller and smaller, until it disappeared. The man covered in scales was stunned. Without a word, he waved both of his hands and all the balls of purple lightning around him suddenly shot toward the 4 tornadoes. He wished he could send the body that he had sent to fight with Tar-Sen to charge at the tornadoes as well. But in that moment, Tar-Sen, who was surrounded at the center of the irregular shape, stared at the black tornadoes. His eyes lit up as he understood what was happening and let out a laugh. Disregarding the person he was fighting, he chanted a few very complex chants, and his body suddenly turned into a blood mist. After the blood mist appeared, it quickly spread in all directions. The irregular shape that surrounded him suddenly collapsed and released a shockwave outwards. This caused all 10 people that were maintaining the irregular shape to display frightened expressions. 6 people, including Domu, were hit by the shockwave. Their bodies were soon invaded by the blood mist, which rampaged through their bodies, destroying all their internal organs, before finally exiting from their heads. The moment the blood mist came out, the 6 revealed looks of disbelief as their limp and empty bodies fell straight into the Dead Sea. The man charging toward Wang Lin had to stop and turn around. He didn't have the time to deal with Wang Lin. Both his hands opened, directing the balls of purple lightning that were charging at the black tornadoes to turn and shoot toward the blood mist. Meanwhile, his other body threw the illusionary spear. The spear turned into a black dragon and charged toward the blood mist. As for the 4 people that survived, all were extremely afraid, especially the old man. He never thought that Tar-Sen still had a move like this. The blood mist under the pursuit of the balls of purple lightning and the black dragon quickly came together to form 10 identical copies of the red-haired man. They all appeared in different locations. One of them suddenly charged toward the black tornadoes. The remaining 9 bodies followed the lead of the 2 that held the spear and the half-moon blade. They started to close in on the man covered in scales and the remaining 4 survivors. Almost immediately, the body that chased the black tornadoes caught up. He waved his hand and sent out a red light. The 4 tornadoes quickly fused into one. After the tornadoes fused into one, it collapsed, and countless souls of small creatures burst out in all directions. A few of the souls hit the scales of the million-foot-long creature. The sudden turn of events stunned that clone. He let out a smile and pointed his finger in various directions. With each point, a large amount of the small creature's souls disappeared. But at the same time, the souls that hit the million-foot-long creature started to gather together. They released a demonic feel before quickly exploding. This explosion caused a chain effect. All of the remaining souls exploded, causing a large amount of spiritual energy to release into the surrounding area. The moment the explosions occurred, a rift appeared near the million-foot-long creature's body, and a figure quickly rushed out. It moved like lightning, and, in a flash, it landed on a scale on the giant creature's body. This person was Wang Lin, however, this time, his body didn't look real, more like an illusion. It was clear that the him now was his soul that had left his body. After Tar-Sen formed the 10 clones, one of them came toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin fused the 4 tornadoes himself, before Tar-Sen could act, and the countless souls of small beasts burst out. As a result, his divine sense scattered among the souls of the small beasts, so the chances of him being found out were a lot lower. However, Wang Lin was not arrogant enough to think that he wouldn't be found out. If he was found out, then, at most, he would just cut off that part of his divine sense. After all, the main purpose of this portion of his divine sense was to act as a scout. He controlled the souls of the small beasts to land on the body of the million-foot creature. One of the souls hit that special scale by accident, and the moment it touched the scale, he clearly felt a strong call from it. Under this call, the portion of inheritance that he held inside his mind felt like it was going to jump out of his body. But at the same time, within his inheritance, a new piece of memory appeared. After understanding the memory, Wang Lin's heart couldn't help but sink. Wang Lin soon decided to make all of the souls of the small beasts explode. He sneered as his soul left his body and exited the rift like lightning. Just as Wang Lin expected, the cultivation gap between him and Tar-Sen was far too big. Despite it being a clone, it was clearly not at a level that Wang Lin could hide from. The clone left a feeling of disdain in his heart. He already detected Wang Lin's divine sense in the black tornadoes, or else he wouldn't have used a power that would hurt his body. In fact, when Ta Sen entered the Dead Soul Sea, he felt that something was wrong. Even though he had no connection with the inheritance of knowledge, because he was born from Tu Sai's evil thoughts, he was very familiar with Tu Sai's knowledge sea. This place seemed a bit odd to him, but he couldn't clearly say what was odd about it. This was entirely based off his instincts. Even with the million-foot-long creature appearing and the 10 people betraying him, he didn't mind much. All he really cared about was what was odd about this place. It wasn't until Wang Lin appeared from the rift that it struck him like lightning and made him come to some understanding. This was why he used the supernatural power to break out, and why he didn't immediately destroy Wang Lin's divine sense, because he wanted to see exactly what this soul devourer had figured out. In a flash, Wang Lin's soul landed on the million-foot-long creature's body. His body was very hazy, and he directed a cold smile at Ta Sen's clone. Ta Sen's clone stared at the scales around where Wang Lin stood. He let out a cold smile. He knew that the odd thing about this place was one of those scales. While he didn't know which scale it was, once he fused back into one body, he knew he would be able to figure it out. At this point, in his eyes, Wang Lin had lost all value. He formed a diamond with his hand and looked at Wang Lin and said, "Die." The clone stared at the 3 golden words. Soon, his body moved, and all of the 9 other clones charged toward where Wang Lin stood. Almost immediately, the man covered in scales was shocked. Then, an idea came to him, and he quickly fused back into one body. He chased after Ta Sen's clones and laughed loudly, "Ta Sen, anyone, but you can inherit the master's inheritance of knowledge. Little guy, it all depends on your luck." Those last words were meant for Wang Lin. In that moment, he made a decision that would cost him a price he could barely withstand. Suddenly, the man covered in scales pointed his hand at his brow and said, "Using my clone as a sacrifice, I transfer the inheritance of knowledge." His clone quickly shook, and along with the spear, both turned into golden specks of light and disappeared. As the clone that was the closest to Wang Lin charged at him, Wang Lin's soul, which was spreading out quickly, shrunk, as if it were being sucked in by a strong force. In the blink of an eye, Wang Lin's soul was sucked in by the special scale and disappeared. Soon after the man covered in scales said those words, the scale exploded and disappeared without a trace. Ta Sen's clone turned back toward the man covered in scales and roared. His clones fused back into one body. His left hand was holding the half-moon blade and his right hand was holding the spear. He stared at the man covered in scales with intense rage in his eyes. "If that little guy doesn't manage to merge with the inheritance of knowledge within 1,000 years, you might have another chance." The man covered in scales began to laugh loudly. Disregarding what happened with those 2, after Wang Lin's soul was absorbed by the scale, he arrived at a world of clouds. This place had no sky or land, but endless clouds as far as the eyes could see. After scanning the area, he discovered that one of the ice crystals was smaller than the rest. Wang Lin immediately recognized it as the ice crystal that Sky Devil Magician tried to get when he opened that tunnel. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He finally understood that the ancient god's inheritance of knowledge wasn't just one ice crystal, but 94 of them. The part that Wang Lin had absorbed wasn't even 1% of it. Wang Lin was here as his soul. After pondering a little, his soul landed on top of that ice crystal. The moment his soul touched it, the ice crystal suddenly melted and fused with Wang Lin's soul. Waves of majestic memories entered Wang Lin's soul. As time passed, the memories came to him faster and faster. Wang Lin's soul became like an expanding cloud. See countless complex chants, countless strange technique, and countless fragments of memories stormed into Wang Lin's mind like roaring dragons. His soul was torn apart, then reassembled. As that cycle continued, tidal waves of pain completely engulfed Wang Lin. In reality, Wang Lin shouldn't have been able to feel anything in his soul form, but he was feeling pain all over his soul, as if there were countless insects devouring him. This feeling stayed with him. Even when he absorbed the first part of the inheritance back then, he didn't have this feeling. Little by little, he lost control of his soul. Part of it flew out in thin lines and eventually surrounded him to form a cocoon. The cocoon formed by his soul glowed blue like the ice crystals. In fact, it looked just like a slightly larger ice crystal. While this process took place, Wang Lin's soul entered a state of chaos. He had experienced this feeling before, when he first absorbed part of the inheritance. Even after experiencing it once before, the first time, could be compared to a trickling stream, while this time it was like a raging river. He felt like a leaf on the raging river, helplessly being swept with the ups and downs of the rapids. Every wave would make his pain worse. Suddenly, he saw a light in front of his eyes. Soon, a familiar scene appeared before him. There was an empty space with countless specks of light glowing before him. This scene, Wang Lin had seen before. Upon seeing the scene again, he suddenly gained a bit of understanding. The moment he gained that little understanding, the pain that he had been experiencing disappeared without a trace. Soon after, a feeling of numbness immediately began to spread from every part of his soul. The countless chants, techniques, and memories moving in his soul finally calmed down and completely integrated into it. Slowly, Wang Lin felt his soul move forward, and those specks of light became larger and larger. Eventually, they became giant planets. Soon, he saw the large body of the ancient god. Wang Lin already knew that the youth he saw before was the ancient god Tusai when he was a child, and the giant before him, who was the size of a planet, was the adult Tusai. Tusai's face looked very normal. The only exception was that there were 8 stars in a circle between his eyebrows. In addition, his skin was very rough and contained countless cracks. However, the cracks were barely visible. They were hard to notice if you didn't examine Tusai very carefully. But after carefully observing him, there were countless cracks. His skin looked like a cracked shell. At this point, Tusai's eyes were bursting with light, staring at a planet in the distance with a thoughtful look on his face. Soon after, his large hand lightly reached out and made a grabbing motion, causing that planet to shatter into dust and disappear among the countless specks. From the dust cloud flew out a golden light. With a wave of his hand, the golden light changed directions and flew toward Tusai. Soon, the golden light landed in his hand and became a golden nugget. The object was clearly some sort of material. It looked like gold, but wasn't. It was stone, but not stone. It had sections of black lines on it. While holding it, Tusai made another grabbing gesture with his other hand and another planet exploded. After ancient god Tusai left, he clearly felt his soul begin to disappear from that place. Soon, all of his soul disappeared from there. At the place that held the inheritance of knowledge, besides the 93 blue ice crystals, there was a blue cocoon. Soon, countless cracks appeared on the cocoon. Countless colorful lights peered out from the cracks. As more and more cracks appeared, the colorful light became more and more intense. Soon, with a cracking sound, the cocoon broke open. A half-transparent figure that emitted colorful light appeared from the cocoon. The person was Wang Lin. Wang Lin opened his eyes and looked down at his body. His eyes revealed a questioning look. He could clearly feel that after absorbing the blue ice crystal, not only did he gain more memories, but his soul went from an almost completely illusionary state to this half-transparent state. After contemplating a little, Wang Lin tried to move his soul, but his current body immediately collapsed and spread out into the surroundings. Wang Lin moved his soul again, and once again it fused back into that half-transparent state. He pondered silently for a while, then waved his right hand and formed a mirror made of the ice crystal. After glancing at the mirror, Wang Li suddenly quivered. He stared at the mirror, unable to utter a word. From the mirror, he could see the half-transparent figure. Although it was half-transparent, he could still see its features. It contained a very common-looking face. Wang Lin just stared at the mirror. His face revealed a very complicated emotion. He thought that, one day, he would be able to regain his old body. He had forgotten how many years it had been since his body was destroyed by Tinghua Yuan, but he had never forgotten about the body that was given to him by his parents. Every time he remembered it, his heart would fill with hate for Tinghua Yuan. After a long time, Wang Lin sighed, and his mood was calm again. He moved his soul and quickly surrounded another blue ice crystal. The extreme pain from before appeared again. This time, Wang Lin was prepared and he remained calm. All the information bursted into his soul and was absorbed by him. Shortly after, his soul became unable to withstand it any longer. It collapsed and soon surrounded him in that oval cocoon again. The empty space, filled with countless specks of light, appeared again. This time, he observed the ancient god refining a pill. It was made using the spiritual energy of countless planets. This pill, in Wang Lin's eyes, was extremely rough. It looked like a ball of mud that was releasing a horrifying amount of spiritual energy, but no matter how you looked at it, it didn't look like a pill. After Tusai took the pill, the cracks in his body became much thinner, and between the cracks, appeared countless patterns that emitted a very mysterious atmosphere. With the ancient god's movement, the patterns created an illusion and looked as if they were alive. When the giant cocoon broke again, Wang Lin's body became a bit more solid. Time slowly passed. Wang Lin continued to absorb two Sai's inheritance of knowledge. After absorbing one ice crystal, he would move on to the next. When the 34th ice crystal was absorbed by him, his soul was solid. No matter how hard you looked, you couldn't find any difference between his soul now and a real body. As for his hair, it was still white like before. Wang Lin took a deep breath and began to carefully examine his body. No matter if it was his sense of touch, smell, sound, or taste, all were the same as a real body. He originally planned to absorb the inheritance of knowledge and find the ink stone needed to make the restriction flag, then return to his body and leave the land of the ancient god that he had been trapped in for so many years. If everything went according to his plan, then this time, Wang Lin's harvest would have been great. Not only did he manage to learn the art of restrictions, he also learned the method for making the restriction flag and managed to obtain Hunchback Meng's, an ancient emperor's bags of holding. Of course, there was still that beast trap and the 20 top quality spirit stones. If you include the 10 instruments as well, then he really did have a bountiful harvest. In addition, there was still the more valuable inheritance of knowledge. But after finding out that there were 94 ice crystals, Wang Lin became much more cautious. If he could enter this place, then others could as well. But after waiting for a long time, no one else came. It was clear that some change happened. More importantly, the place where Wang Lin hid his body was also where all of his bags of holding were. But that place was between the rifts, so he was not too worried about its safety, but if his body was without a soul for too long, then there might be complications. However, since Wang Lin formed a new body, he finally relaxed a bit. As time passed, Wang Lin's speed in fusing with the ice crystals became slower and slower. On the 57th ice crystal, after Wang Lin broke out of the cocoon, there was a faint star between his eyebrows. Wang Lin quietly sat crossed-legged within the cocoon. He closed his eyes. After a very long time, he opened them again. They exuded a mysterious light. Although the Wang Lin now looked like that youth from Zhao all those years ago, the atmosphere he emitted now was completely different. The him now, with his white hair flowing, gave off the feeling of an extremely dangerous stranger, just like a savage beast that caused people's hearts to grow cold. The star on his forehead appeared between his eyebrows after the 57th ice crystal. The moment the star appeared, it felt as if mind was struck by lightning and became clear. He clearly remembered that on the ancient god's 2 Sai's forehead there were 8 stars. He remembered that no matter if it was refining a treasure or a pill, they all required some mysterious power from the stars. But the stars on 2 Sai's forehead were red, and the star on his head was only a faint outline. In fact, if you didn't look at it carefully, you couldn't even see it. Even though he didn't know how to get the rest of the stars on his forehead, Wang Lin believed that once he absorbed all of the ice crystals, he would have an understanding of it. Although Wang Lin didn't know much about the star, after absorbing more than 50 ice crystals, Wang Lin gained an understanding on why his body reformed. The ancient gods focused on refining the body. Every ancient god used all of the spiritual energy they absorbed to refine their body. As a result, even if they were ancient gods, their bodies would reach a limit and stop becoming stronger. After entering this area, he completely absorbed one of the 94 ice crystals, and the ability of reconstruction automatically started. Therefore, Wang Lin's body began to reform, using his soul as the core and his memory as the template. To Wang Lin, undergoing the process of body reconstruction wasn't anything special. In fact, if anyone else received the inheritance, they would go through the same process. But when Wang Lin's body reformed, it allowed him to recover his original body. Although this body looked very normal, compared to ordinary cultivators, it was much stronger. If Wang Lin could experience 8 reconstructions, then his body would be like the ancient gods. After understanding all of this, Wang Lin came to a wild conclusion. Maybe the 8 stars on 2 Sai's forehead had to do with his 8 reconstructions. If that was really the case, then that would explain why there was a star on his forehead. After all, his body had reconstructed once. But according to Wang Lin's analysis, his body's reconstruction wasn't complete, otherwise, why would the star on his forehead still have no color and remain so faint? This was all Wang Lin's speculation, because he didn't have that memory yet, but he believed that he would soon have the answer. After absorbing 57 ice crystals, the broken pieces of chance, techniques, and memories were starting to become complete. This caused his soul to become very chaotic. Sometimes, Wang Lin's soul would become confused, sometimes he would believe he was Tu Sai, and sometimes he would remember that he was Wang Lin. This chaotic feeling caused his heart to feel a strong sense of doom. Despite Tu Sai being dead, and there not being any chance of being possessed, Wang Lin believed that if he absorbed all of the inheritance of knowledge, if one of them wasn't properly handled, he would really think that he was Tu Sai and forget his real identity. Because of this, Wang Lin had slowed the speed at which he absorbed the inheritance. Only after he had completely absorbed one ice crystal would he move on to the next. As a result, the chaotic feeling in his soul lessened by a lot. Although it still happened sometimes, Wang Lin was able to maintain his identity. Although the speed had gone down, the key was to be steady. Wang Lin wasn't in a rush and slowly absorbed the inheritance. Time flew by. Wang Lin had completely lost his sense of time in this place. After every time he came out of his cocoon, his soul would be in a state of chaos for an unknown amount of time. Wang Lin clearly remembered how many ice crystals he had absorbed. After the 70th ice crystal, they took several times longer to absorb. As Wang Lin absorbed more ice crystals, they contained more and more memories, and the first thing that Wang Lin would do after breaking out of the cocoon was check his body. As he absorbed more and more of the inheritance, his speculation was confirmed. The star on his forehead represented the amount of times that his body had undergone reconstruction. After every ice crystal he absorbed, the color of the star on his forehead would become more clear, and at the same time, Wang Lin could clearly feel that with every ice crystal he absorbed, his body underwent an adjustment. After readjusting 70 times, Wang Lin could feel his body's toughness. It was as if he was following the steps of the ancient gods. Although, from the outside, his body looked completely normal, the inside had undergone tremendous change. After absorbing 70 ice crystals, his body was extremely robust. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He speculated that, in its current state, his body would be able to withstand blows from a spirit-forming stage cultivator. Time passed. Today, within the space that contained the ancient gods' inheritance of knowledge, there were no more blue ice crystals remaining. The only thing left was a giant dark blue cocoon. The cocoon was not normal. There were countless cracks on its surface. If one looked carefully, then they would say that they looked like the cracks on Tu Sai's skin. This giant cocoon had been here for countless years with no sign of breaking. The entire surrounding area felt like it was silenced by some mysterious force. There had been no change in these countless years. Wang Lin's body laid inside the cocoon. His heart had long since stopped beating. His entire body lied in there, in a death-like state. His soul was in complete chaos. The time that it was taking to absorb the last ice crystal had been much longer than the last 93 combined. His soul was submerged in the ancient god's memories. He experienced the events from the birth of the ancient god Tu Sai, to when he decided to practice the flowing ink transformation divine technique, as if he was there himself. After experiencing all that, Wang Lin even had a feeling that he himself was an ancient god. This type of confusion was something that Wang Lin had been avoiding, but now, on the last ice crystal, this feeling burst forth. Because of this, Wang Lin's soul remained in a state of slumber. After an unknown amount of time, a cracking sound could be heard from the giant cocoon. Shortly after, continuous cracking sounds emitted from the cocoon. The countless lines that covered it began to grow wider. Soon, with a pop, the entire cocoon broke open. A body emerged from the cocoon. That person had black eyes and white hair, with a very ordinary face, but very tyrannical atmosphere. Currently, the person's eyes were closed and heart his was stopped. He presented no sign of life. After a long time, his eyes opened. His eyes felt like they contained endless power. After he appeared, he stared at the ring. After looking at it for a while, and confirming that there was no change, he walked forward. Those restrictions seemed as if they had lost their power, because none of them activated at all. With every step, the nearby restrictions disappeared. As he walked to the center of the ring, all of the restrictions on the way disappeared. He was Wang Lin, and as for these restrictions, they were the ones that he himself had placed to protect his body and his bags of holding. Although he believed this place to be safe, because it was not really within the meridian, but in the special space created from the memories of the inheritance, Wang Lin's personally was very careful. So he still left many safety measures. After entering the restrictions, his eyes landed on his old body and the bags of holding. His eyes revealed a look of regret. The body before him had already rotten. There were traces of spiritual energy released from the body's core formation. Next to the body were some bags of holding. Wang Lin let out a sigh. If he hadn't reconstructed a body after he received the inheritance of memory, then he would have to obtain another body. He placed his right hand on the chest of his old body. The lifeless body suddenly started to release thick spiritual energy. Soon, cracks appeared on the body's hands and feet, and continued to spread. As the cracks grow wider, the fluctuations of spiritual energy grew larger. Eventually, the body completely shattered, and a fist-sized core floated out of it. There were countless specks of colored dots scattered among the shattered body. Upon seeing the core, he felt a sense of familiarity. After all, this was the core that he had formed himself, and this connection wasn't something that time would cut. Shortly after, Wang Lin's right hand reached out and the core flew toward him. The moment the core reached his hand, it disappeared into his body and charged toward his dantian. Once it reached his dantian, it started to slowly rotate in place. Waves of spiritual energy washed over Wang Lin's body. He closed his eyes and felt his body. He reopened his eyes, stared at the remains of his old body. He hand-formed a seal as he growled, "Inferno flame." As his words left his lips, the blue dots mixed in with the remains of the body came together to form a blue flame. Wang Lin opened his mouth and sucked the flame into his body. It disappeared into his dantian. Wang Lin waved his right hand and made the bags of holding next to the body fly one by one into his hand. Shortly after, a white light emitted from his hand and a black cloak appeared. After putting on the cloak, Wang Lin grabbed at the void, created a rift. Without any hesitation, he walked into it. After the image appeared, the 8 stars on 2 sides forehead shot out 8 beams of light, forming an octagon-shaped whirlpool. Wang Lin stared at 2 sides image and thought, "Land of the ancient gods, goodbye." This video will end here. Thank you for watching.